Good evening, YouTube. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy Sunday evening. It's NFL draft season, and much like all of you football fans out there, I get very excited this time of year. It's an extra special time of year for me. My father and I have always done NFL events. You do the draft multiple times, or we get together, just hang out, do our own mocks. It's always a great time of year. But one of the things I've never done is I've never published my own mock draft. I've done them as a hobby. I've listened to a number of you on YouTube out there sharing your thoughts. But it seems like more and more over the years, especially as of late, there's just been so many opinions that I have just disagreed with vehemently. And I'm not one to leave comments. I just kind of would write down my own thoughts. And so my friends and even some of my family have asked me to jump in and kind of share my thoughts on what I would do. Not necessarily what do I think the teams would do. And so here we go. This is my first version, my first published version, I should say, of my mock draft. And this is from the angle of what I would do if I was the GM of each of these teams. And so some of these are going to be vastly different from some of the things you've seen out there traditionally. So here we go. So with number one, no difference here, guys. It's Trevor Lawrence. We all know this is the pick. Urban Meyer gets his guy. They get a franchise quarterback, a world-class talent as they start to rebuild this roster. We just move on from there. That one's easy. Second one, though, is I'm going to blow this thing up right away. For me, it's Justin Fields, and it's not even close. Big-time quarterback, big-time upside, played in big games, came from big-time school with major expectations, and I think that's the kind of fit that you would want to go to New York. I personally wouldn't have traded Sam Darnold to begin with, but in the situation of this is what I'm dealing with as the GM, I'm taking Justin Fields. That's my pick as I move forward with this franchise. Number three, that sets up perfectly, Trey Lance to the San Francisco 49ers. I don't buy the Mac Jones hype. I never have. You're not going to sell me on it's the right fit in Kyle Shanahan. I think Trey Lance is the right fit in Shanahan's offense. It is run heavy, lean on the tight end. It's very similar to what he ran at North Dakota State. Gives him time to develop a safety area to really become good until he can throw the ball 30 to 40 times a game comfortably. It's going to take some time, Niners fans. You're going to need to be patient with this one. Ultimately, I think it'll pay off inside of that system with that supporting roster. I love that fit. Number four, it continues to get interesting. I would take the quarterback if I was the Falcons. I would not trade out, because if I'm the Falcons, I'm looking at this saying, you know what, we don't expect to be here again anytime soon. My quarterback, Matt Ryan, is certainly not the problem. But at the same time, we're here. There are quarterbacks here. And I'm going to go ahead and take Zach Wilson and let him sit for a couple of years until we decide what ultimately is going to happen with Matt Ryan and what we want to do with Zach Wilson. But there's just no there's no world-class talent on defense worth taking it for, and defense is their biggest problem. So I'm taking a quarterback, I'm going to let him develop, and I'm going to spend the rest of my draft picks fixing that defense if I'm the Atlanta Falcons. Number five, Cincinnati Bengal fans, I know you guys want Jamar Chase or Kyle Pitts, and I get it. I see it. It's sizzle. It's hot. It'd be a great fit with Burrow. But the reality is your offensive line is not good enough. And all the rest simply does not matter if you can't take care of Burrow. You got a really good player in Jonah Williamson. Pair him with Penei Sewell. Put Sewell on the left. Move Williamson either to guard or to right tackle. But that offensive line really starts to come together. And if that part doesn't work, it doesn't matter. Look what happened to Burrow last year. It will happen again if you don't fix this problem. I know you guys want the big-time playmaker. You'll get it down the line, just not right now. Tech Penei Sewell. Do not make this more difficult than it needs to be. So number six, Miami Dolphins. I'm taking Kyle Pitts, guys. The reality of the situation is I like what they've got on the outside. And Tua Tagovailoa, if you're going to really roll with him, give him the best safety net you can give him, a great tight end, a great athlete, a guy that'll take over the middle of the field. And when Tua's in trouble, he'll always look to Kyle Pitts. It's a good fit. It gives Tua the perfect platform to see, is this your guy? Is he going to work out? Number seven, the Detroit Lions. It's tough. This roster's in such disarray. Jared Goff walks into just a horrible situation. I'm going Jamar Chase. It's easy for me. You know, it's another top 10 wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. That's just been their MO over the last 20 years. But Jamar Chase is a very rare talent. And Jared Goff needs a number one wide receiver. He's not a dynamic player. He doesn't have anything around him. He's not going to make everybody else around him better. He needs a setup to be successful. Go Jamar Chase and start from there. Number eight, the Carolina Panthers. You traded for Sam Darnold. You've got some nice weapons on the outside. You get Christian McCaffrey back. You got some nice pieces on your offensive line. but you need to keep building that offensive line. So I'm going Rashawn Slater. I think he plays plug-and-play left tackle. If for any reason he doesn't develop as your left tackle, move him to guard. You'll be just as happy, trust me. But I'm going Rashawn Slater. I would run to the podium. That's an easy pick for me from the Panthers. Number 9, the Denver Broncos. Really caught in no man's land. I know the sexy pick out there is Micah Parsons. I don't love it. As a matter of fact, I hate it. Micah Parsons is Reuben Foster all over to me. This guy has got all kinds of off-field problems. I'm not really sold that he's a plug-and-play starter. I think he needs a lot of time to develop. Vic Fangio doesn't have time because Vic Fangio fails again, and he's going to be out. At the same time, there's not really a big-time right tackle to take because I don't think Juwan James is the answer. So I'm going to go corner here because at the end of the day, 2 of the 3 corners for Denver are free agents at the end of this year, and all 3 of them have injury histories. So I'm going to go with a dynamic, big-time playmaker. I'm going J.C. Horn. And it was close for me. I really like Patrick Surtain, but I'm going to go J.C. Horn. He's going to play this year, guys. This is a long-term answer for the Denver Broncos at cornerback. He's going to be back there with Justin Simmons for a long time. It really puts the framework together with Draymond Jones and Bradley Chubb. Now you get a blue-chip cornerback. I like it for Denver. That'll be a good fit for them. Number 10, Dallas. Remember, guys, it's what I would do. I'm going Kwity Paye, and I know there's so many people want Patrick Surtain. Surtain's a great, sexy pick. Pair him great with Trayvon Diggs, but your defensive line is just trash, guys. I hate to say it. Can't get to the quarterback, can't stop the run. Start building your defensive line because if your line gets dominated, nothing else matters. I'm taking Kwity Paye, and that's the end of it. New York Giants, same thing. You got to keep building the lines, man. They went out last year. They got 2 tackles in the first 3 rounds. You got Saquon Barkley coming back. You got more help on the outside for Daniel Jones. You got to find out if Daniel Jones is your guy. You've invested heavily. I'm going Elijah Vera Tucker, and I love the pick. You slot him into guard. That offensive line is starting to just ooze with young talent. And now if they can bring it all together, we're going to see what Daniel Jones has got. He's got no more excuses. I'm going Elijah Vera Tucker. So that moves us into 12. I'm the Chargers, man. I wish one of those top 3 offensive linemen was there. I don't care which one. I would have jumped at him, but at this stage, I'm going to go Devontae Smith. Loved Devontae Smith last year. If he would have came out of college, I love him even more now. You put him with an elite quarterback like Justin Herbert. I can't wait to see what he does. He plays all over the field. He plays much bigger, and the guy catches everything. Trust me, Charger fans, you'll love it. All the people out there saying he's too small, forget it. Devontae Smith is going to be a great wide receiver. I truly believe that. And then that leads us right into the Eagles. Okay, the Eagles are in a situation that I wouldn't wish on anybody. They've got a quarterback that they've pushed all their chips in with. I really like Jalen Hurts. He's a great kid. I just don't think he's got it, guys. I really don't. Let's be realistic here. And quite frankly, the supporting cast is even worse. So I'm going Jalen Waddle. I mean, at this point, what choice do you have? I would give him every opportunity, give him a big-time weapon, and just see if he can be successful. So Jalen Waddle's my pick. We'll see what Jalen Hurts is made out of. All right, so moving to Minnesota. I'm gonna reach a little bit here, guys, because I like the fit. I'm going Zaven Collins from Tulsa. I like his ability as a pass rusher. He's a bit more of a 3-4, but I believe he can play. I know it's a little bit of overlap, but I think he can play that weak side linebacker into the pass rushing slot, help out Anthony Barr, help out Danielle Hunter. This defense lacks pop. It has just not been the same physical defense these last few years. You play against Aaron Rodgers. If you're going to make a run for the division title, you've got to shore up this defense. You've got to shore up that pass rush. I'm going Collins out of Tulsa. I love that fit inside of that defense. And I know what you guys are saying. You're like, Parsons still there? I told you before, I'm not a big Micah Parsons fan, but I am slotting him next to the Patriots at 15. That's where he falls. So hear me out. He falls at 15 for several reasons. Number one, Bill Belichick loves his linebackers. Okay, Dante Hightower comes back, but Dante Hightower is getting older. This seems to be kind of the area that Micah Parsons is going to fit. We'll see. But given that locker room, the Patriot way, this is the staff that can get him to walk the straight line, become the player that he could really ascend to be if he wants to be. I don't think anywhere else he can be. Like I said, this is Reuben Foster all over again in my feeling. I don't like it. If he's going to drop because of a talent, go to New England. I think they can maximize him. Number 16, Arizona. I love this pick, guys. Jalen Phillips, the pass rusher out of Miami. Look, you got Chandler Jones, who still gets after it. You brought in J.J. Watt. I still think he's got a lot in him. Jalen Phillips just accelerates that. You got Isaiah Simmons from last year and a young, exciting secondary. The defense is now coming into full circle. This offense can score in this division. Boy, is that going to be exciting. I think this is the kind of defense that could put them over the top. I think Cliff Kingsbury's got a great roster. I love this pick. Jalen Phillips to add to that Arizona pass rush. Number 17, the Raiders, JOK, linebacker, Notre Dame. Look, I would normally want to go edge rusher here for the Raiders, but the reality is, guys, is that the Raiders defense also lacks pop. It really does. They need a guy that can go in there and just wreak havoc, can play all over the field, be a Swiss Army knife, do multiple things, be a leader. JOK, if I'm John Gruden, Mike Mayock, I love this pick. I take him, I plug him in right away. Day one starter makes everyone better. Raider fans would love that for a long time, guys. Number 18, the Miami Dolphins. Guys, got to get a pass rusher. That defense is set on the back seven. It's really rock solid. Brian Flores, great defensive coach, but he doesn't have a pass rusher. He doesn't have guys who get into the backfield, create chaos. The rest is absolutely meaningless if you don't do that. So I am going Azeez Ojulari. I think that's how you pronounce it, out of Georgia. He's a really good edge rusher. He's going to take some time to polish, but you finally get a blue chip talent on that edge for the Dolphins. They've needed it for a while. I love that pick. I love that fit. Miami Dolphins get a pass rusher. Number 19, the Washington football team, and here's where finally the fifth quarterback comes off the board. I think this is a good fit and a good spot for Mac Jones. You know, Washington has quietly assembled a nice group of young playmakers on the outside. The offensive line still needs a little bit of a reboot, but they need a young quarterback, and Mac Jones falls to them at 19. The fifth quarterback taken. I think this is a good place for everybody. They've got a rock-solid defense. I love it. You know, Mac Jones going to have every opportunity to be successful learning behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, so Washington gets possibly their franchise quarterback. Number 20, the Bears. You know, I feel so bad for Matt Nagy, just in a no-win situation from the quarterback standpoint. Took a big swing at Russell Wilson. It wasn't enough. I don't think it's going to happen. And you got Andy Dalton. You've had Mitch Trubisky, and there's no real great solution inside if you're the Bears. There's no quarterback to be taken with Jones going off the board. And I don't know, as the Bears ownership realize they got a great coach, they're going to be patient. So the next best thing I can do is give you guys a big-time playmaker. I'm going Kadarius Toney out of Florida. I do it all, run after the catch, great compliment to Allen Robinson. You guys need some pop on that offense. If you're going to compete with Minnesota, if you're going to compete with Green Bay, you got to be able to score. You got a really Super Bowl caliber defense. I need playmakers, Kadarius Toney. Because of that, guys, we got 21 of the Colts, right? If I'm the Colts in any other scenario, I'm taking a tackle. There's some really good tackle prospects. I need to replace Anthony Costanzo. I'm going to break my own rule here because there's a great talent that fell to me just because of this scenario. And I'm taking Patrick Surtain. Xavier Rhodes excelled last year, you know, and he was old and nobody wanted to do anything with him. He played wonderful in this defense. Imagine what Patrick Surtain could do. I would run to the podium with this pick. I would go offensive tackle in round 2. If I did a 2-round mock, you'd see a tackle to the Colts. But because of this scenario, guys, I'm going corner first. I'm going Patrick Surtain, Colts defense. I love how that defense is coming together. At number 22, I need another player for the Tennessee Titans to go with A.J. Brown. Okay, you lost Corey Davis. I don't really see you lost. But Corey Davis is gone. I don't think it's a big loss. But let's get another playmaker to go with A.J. Brown, Adam Humphries. And I'm going with Terrace Marshall out of LSU. I've always liked him. I felt he's really underrated. They could possibly go right tackle. Obviously, we all know the debacle that was their first-round pick last year, who just turned out to be an ultimate bust. But in this case, because Marshall's, in my mind, such a good fit for that offense, I want to pair him with A.J. Brown, give Ryan Tannehill another weapon, and take some more pressure off Derrick Henry. I like that fit. The New York Jets, number 23, your next first-round pick, Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. I know he's been a fast riser. I know this may be not as high as some people want to see him go. I think he's a great fit inside this Jets defense. Look, Jets need help all over that front seven, and Davis is a good blitzing linebacker, might even have some outside edge rusher in him. You went out, you added Carl Lawson, you're building around Quinnen Williams. The simple reality is, in this mock, I got Justin Fields, I got a left tackle in Mekhi Becton, so I got my quarterback, I got to protect my quarterback. Now I want more guys to get after the other guy's quarterback. I think that's where you start. And so in this case, I'm going Jamin Davis out of Kentucky. Love that player for the Jets. Number 24, the Steelers. I'm going Najee Harris. I'm normally not a big guy for running backs in the first round, but Steeler fans, it's not been the same in Pittsburgh ever since we watched Le'Veon Bell walk out the door. We need a dynamic player. We need a guy that can catch the ball. We need a guy that can run between the tackles, pick up blitzes. And Ben Roethlisberger is a statue back there. I need a threat coming out of the backfield so that it's not just a one-dimensional offense, okay? Najee Harris kind of guy the Steelers can get behind. He's a Steeler-type player. I think Steeler fans would love him for the next 10 years at running back. Number 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Look, I don't know if Cam Robinson is the solution at left tackle or not, but even if he is, this offensive line still needs a lot of help. And I'm going Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle from Oklahoma State. Whether he supplants Robinson on the left side or he slots in at the right side, this offensive line instantly gets better. I think Jenkins is extraordinarily underrated. I think he's a big, dominant tackle. I think he can dominate in the NFL. And ultimately right now, if I'm the Jaguars, my first order of business is protect Trevor Lawrence. Number 26, Cleveland. This is also an easy pick for me. You just cut Sheldon Rankins. You've invested in this defense. This defense is young. It's capable. And I want to give some more help to my guy, Myles Garrett, up front. I'm going Christian Barmore, defensive tackle from Alabama. Slots right in. I think Barmore gives them a two-dimensional type player, run stuffer, and even a little bit of a pass rusher. Love that fit. Easy fit for me, Cleveland. Number 27, Baltimore. Let's look at the scenarios right now, Ravens fans. So Orlando Brown wants to be paid like a left tackle. He stated it. I believe him. You just gave Ronnie Stanley almost a $100 million contract. It's huge. The reality of the situation is you can't pay both of them that same price. And based on the haul the Dolphins got a few years ago with Laramie Tunsil, I believe very much Orlando Brown is lined up to be traded. Look, teams all over the league look for elite left tackles. Brown is that going into his prime. You could get a haul of draft picks. So in that case, I have an opportunity here to go ahead and backfill that. I'm going to go ahead and take Sam Cosmi from Texas. I think he can plug and play right away at right tackle. Even if Brown is still there, Cosmi develops until you trade him because there's no way that the Ravens are just letting Brown walk out the door. Number 28, New Orleans Saints, guys. So New Orleans lost Drew Brees, and now you're going to build around Jameis Winston. And right now, Jameis Winston basically has one tried and true target running out there, Michael Thomas, coming off some injuries. You also got Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. Jameis Winston cannot be relied on to drop back and throw the ball 40 times, although he thinks he can. He throws too many interceptions. You need a guy with a skill set to complement Mike Thomas, give Sean Payton an opportunity to build some gadgets, do all kinds of unique, nuanced plays that he can help Jameis Winston sort of curtail some of those interceptions. I'm going Rondale Moore. And I know he's raw, but this is a big-time playmaker, folks. He fits the offense. He fits what Sean Payton likes to do. Sean Payton can open up the playbook with a guy like this, a skill set like this. I love that fit. Help Jameis Winston be as successful as he can. Last four, guys. So, Green Bay Packer fans, I wanted to go Bateman here. I want to get you guys a second receiver. I know how painful it was last year. I get it. I agree with you. Bad picks by the Packers last year, and I love Packer fans, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Watching your center, watching Lindsley walk out the door is a huge hit, and if that offensive line starts to crumble, it doesn't matter if you get a number 2 wide receiver. I'm gonna stretch here, guys. I'm going Landon Dickerson, Alabama. This guy's a monster center. If he can stay healthy, the biggest problem for the Packers the last couple of years, you got manhandled in the playoffs by being out-physicaled at the point of attack. Things start to change when you put Landon Dickerson in the center of your offensive line. I promise you, if this is a 2-round mock, I'm going wide receiver undoubtedly in the second round. But for the purposes of this scenario, if I'm the GM, I'm taking Landon Dickerson, add some pop to that offensive line, physicality, nasty, team captain. Aaron Rodgers would love this guy. Number 30, the Buffalo Bills. The Bills have a great young roster, but the big problem they've got, guys, is if they're going to actually compete, they've got to be able to play even better defense. And Sean McDermott just has lacked a really blue-chip guy off the edge that he can mold and coach up. McDermott is a wonderful coach. I want to build around Ed Oliver. I want to build around this defensive shell that I've created over the last couple of years with Tre'Davious White and with Edmonds at linebacker. And so, guys, I'm going with Jason Awee out of Penn State. I know he didn't have any sacks last year, but this guy is an off-the-charts athlete. He's got all kinds of upside. He's raw. So, Bills fans, you got to be patient. He's raw. But if there's anybody out there that can truly coach this guy up, it's Sean McDermott. Look what he's done with Josh Allen. I love this pick to Buffalo. Get a guy that can get in the backfield, create havoc. It completely changes the dynamic of this Bills defense, and it really gives them a shot to knock off the Chiefs as the AFC favorite. So I love that fit for the Bills. Speaking of the Chiefs, number 31, the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, you cut both of your offensive tackles, and we saw what happened in the Super Bowl when you still had Mitchell Schwartz. Okay, now you don't even have him. They've done nothing in the offseason to address tackle. Yes, they brought in Joe Thuney. I get it. Nice guard. Got some solid guards, but the edge is completely abysmal. And until that gets fixed, Chiefs fans, you got a glaring weakness, and forget about it. Nothing else matters. And so I'm going Liam Eichenberg, the offensive tackle from Notre Dame. I like him a lot. I think he's solid. He's also a little bit raw. He's going to need some coaching. Even if he's not your solution at left tackle, I believe he can play right tackle. You need them both. Chiefs fans, you got no choice here. You need an offensive tackle desperately. Finally, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay, so what does Tampa need? If I'm the Bucs GM, I'm looking at this long term. It's like, okay, got a great roster, locked up some really key guys with contracts for the next couple of years, a couple of guys you brought back on one-year deals. There's no interior defensive lineman at this point that I really like. It's a big drop-off after the kid from Alabama, Christian Barmore. So I'm going to go edge rusher here, guys, and I'm going to reach a little bit on this one because I really like him. I'm going Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma. Look, if you know this kid, you know he's a physical freak, plays nasty, plays hard, 30-plus pressures his last 5 games in college last year. This guy can absolutely wreak havoc. You need some depth behind JPP and Shaq Barrett. You always need a third edge rusher. And JPP ain't getting any younger. I like Ronnie Perkins a lot to develop. Todd Bowles is his coach. Todd Bowles in that defense. I think Ronnie Perkins could come in, be an impact player, keep ramping up because at the end of the day, the offense is set. It's a young, solid offensive line. They don't need any more help on offense. You could go try to get a quarterback later to develop. I'm getting another pass rusher if I'm the Bucs. I like Ronnie Perkins, and that'll give him a pass rusher to pair with Shaq Barrett for the future, guys. All right, guys, there you have it. That's 1 through 32. I know there's a lot of disagreements out there. I know it because I've disagreed with a lot of the things I've seen. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, it's what I would do. I hope the explanations around why I would do it make sense. I'd welcome your feedback. I know there's some guys out there that got first-round grades that are leaving on the board, but that's always the way it shakes out. So as we move into the second round, if this was the scenario that played out, there'd be some good players left to go. So it'll be exciting to see, and I may do another one of these before draft night in terms of what I think will happen, but I always like it from the framework of what I would do. So again, my name's Mike, signing off, and I'll see you guys again soon. Night, YouTubers.